This podcast has mature language, not intended for underage viewers.
Street cred sports. Street cred sports. I'm crossing over. I'm Euro stepping. Where's my opponent? I think I left him. I'm in the lane. I see the rim. I'm finger rolling. To help the finish stepping up, I'm dunking on him. You know how it goes when you jump shots water. Got coaches switching up, they scheme, somebody gotta guard them. I'm putting pressure on the D to send the double team. Then no looking to the corner, throwing up the threes. Because I know it's money, we prepared for it. King of the court, like I was bred for it. Street cred sports, got me feeling godly. Tightening up my habits, working on my body. Got my mind right, time to put it to the test. I'm going hard in the paint and doing nothing less. The game plans, give it to me, and I'll do the rest. Coach better tell the other team, go get it from the net. Go get it from the net. Street cred sports, say it with your chest. Go get it from the net. Street cred sports, okay, that's a bet.
Hello, this is Keenan of Street Cred Sports Training, and welcome to another episode of Time to Ball. This is episode 17. I figured I'd let everyone listen to the whole song because I know I have it on my intro and outro, but I wanted y'all to feel, what I feel whenever I listen to it. So shout out to Ches Santana and Rank Up Entertainment again for that, that banger, man. That song is fabric. It represents what we've been trying to do and what we've been doing for all of this time. So I hope everybody enjoyed that song. I hope everybody enjoyed their weekend and that they're just doing well. That's usually how I like to come across. It'd be funny if I said, I hope some of y'all went broke over the weekend. I hope some of y'all got divorced or found out your spouse was cheating. What kind of shit would that be if I started off the show, man? I don't believe in it anyway. When I say I hope everybody's doing well, I'm not just saying it to say it. It's really how I've always been. I enjoy life, and I know some are having difficult times and stuff, but, try to enjoy life. But, man, could you imagine that? I hope you had a car wreck today, or, I hope somebody spiked your punch with some, bad chemicals that sent you to the hospital or something. Could you, man, that's just so wrong. That's, what, I'm sorry, I'm not even going to say that because that's just so wrong to even say it. But that's just, could you imagine somebody having a show and saying that, hi, how are you doing, people? Oh, man. So, look, let me get to my things on my mind, all right? Okay, so, first of all, I want to congratulate the Kansas City Chiefs for winning the Super Bowl. As you know, last week I picked the Eagles because I felt like they had the more complete team. Although one part of that complete team didn't seem to factor in. Defense didn't seem to resonate at all. I can't remember. I don't think they had any sacks. I don't remember any crucial, stops that they had. Look, both teams didn't really stop each other, right? Kansas City didn't really stop Philly. Philly didn't really stop Kansas City. Kansas City's not known as a defensive team. That's why they put up points. Philly has been touted as a defensive juggernaut. They were exposed. That was something that they, I think it was Ayuk. I'm messing his name up. I know I am. Debo Samuel, I think, some of the San Francisco players said that they were going to expose him, but they didn't get time because their quarterback got hurt, which was what was frustrating for them. And they figured Kansas City would, and it seemed like Kansas City did a masterful job of exposing some things that went down, especially on a couple of those goal line touchdowns that they had, having the guys thinking they were going to run from one side of the field and the next, and they're sprinting over that side, and then they turns back and makes like a V cut where they're going one way, and then they cut back, and they ended up wide open touchdown. So, hats off to them. Both quarterbacks played great. A lot of people were, mentioning how it was the first Super Bowl with two black quarterbacks, and there are going to be some racist people that say no, it was 1.5 because Mahomes is half and half. But it seems like we embrace them even if they're half because they're not giving credit. So it's a weird thing. But I want to live in a world where it doesn't matter who the Super Bowl quarterbacks are, who the coaches are. They just playing, but because of the disparity and all of the things that, have went on throughout history, you have to bring it up. So, it was a great game. It was a great game. Hurts did a lot and actually was able to show that he's had a lot of growth. There were some guys who made comments about how he wasn't a good quarterback, how he shouldn't have been in the league. And, to me, he proved them wrong because he made the thought when they're evaluating quarterbacks are certain types of throws. Can he throw in windows? There are certain types of routes, receivers can run and quarterbacks can throw to that are typical, as they say. Any quarterback should be able to make those passes or throws. But then there are other throws that they say only elite quarterbacks can make, through window with the defender on them. You're leading your offensive receiver or offensive player to a spot where that they can only catch that, make that catch. And Hurts was making some of those throws. He was making some of those throws. So, I think he's just going to continue to get better because he has a great work ethic and a great mindset. So, will he be the all-time passing quarterback ever? Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. But I think he's going to be exceptional. And I think we should stop trying to judge people on what we thought and start looking at what they can be. I mean, after a certain amount of years, you kind of have a sample size. I usually say after like 4 years, you kind of know what that player is or isn't. Now, can that player reinvent themselves? Absolutely. But you generally know after 4 years. So you have to give this guy 4 years, at that quarterback position to really see, has he gotten better, every year. And he definitely had. Now, having said that, apparently the football gods punished the Eagles because they booed Dak Prescott, who won the Walter Payton Award. Now, this was from Walter Payton's son, who said that, the football gods were not happy that they booed, Dak Prescott for winning his award. Now, that the people who were booing obviously were Philly fans because, there's a great love fest between Philly and Dallas for the football teams. So, I get it. I think it was, I would say it was in poor taste. I know you don't like the person, but considering what award he was winning, didn't have anything to do with football. So, there's a segment of people that say, hey, you anger those football. I believe in that too. All right. I don't think there's no guys sitting around football guys, but I do believe in that, mystical karmas kind of stuff. So whether it happened or not, who knows? But that's what Walter Payton's son had. So in the end, to me, it wasn't a great football. I guess because I didn't have a dog in the fight. I was definitely happy with either one of those teams winning. I just thought that Philly was going to win, but I was just as happy. So it didn't have the same drama for me. I guess if it was a team that I wasn't pulling for, I didn't really care if they won or not. it might have been different, but yeah, I'm happy, and football season is over. Okay, let me get to the NBA trade deadline. Man, that was wild. I had my phones. I felt like I was an NBA agent or something, monitoring my phones and monitoring the Twitter, and had the TV on NBA TV as well as ESPN. Boy, I was on it. I was going to call in my clients and say, I'm not going in to work today. Y'all going to have to train yourself today because I'm watching the NBA trades. And it was phenomenal. And it was a lot of trades. Obviously the Kevin Durant trade was the highlight of it. Kyrie going to the Mavs was a great one. Then there were some lesser ones, Golden State moving James Wiseman I think it was to Detroit, and they got Gary Payton Jr. back the second, and it was quite some activity with this trade deadline. Now, having said all of that, the one thing that I think they really need to change, because look, okay, all right, sorry, mama, it's fucked up. It's really, really, really fucked up. Okay, that's only twice. I'm not going to say it 3 times. But when you find out that you're traded after everybody else, Mikal Bridges, that was with the Phoenix Suns, when he was traded to the Nets, he was FaceTiming one of his teammates at the time from Phoenix, Damian Lee. Damian Lee FaceTimed him all upset, almost crying, saying, "I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. It's so messed up." And Mikal Bridges was like, "Well, what are you talking about?" He's like, "Man, they traded you. You got traded to the Nets." And he was like, "Huh?" So that was when he found out. That shouldn't happen. It shouldn't. I mean, think of it this way. Think of you being in your job and you getting fired after everybody else in the public knows that you're fired. Now, obviously, that doesn't happen as much because, companies are private. You don't hear about people firing, but everybody in the company knows. Imagine coming into work that morning and working and with your pay, with your lunch or whatever, and you going in to do your job, and before lunch, everybody knows that you got fired, but they just gonna let you, keep going. And then you find out later on that day, oh yeah, you got fired, man. That's pretty shitty. Or imagine if you get moved to another position across the country for a job that you have, and you don't even find out until everybody else knows it before you. Let's say you come in at 12, usually you come in afternoon shift. Well, they make it public in the morning shift. So everybody in the morning knows that you're not going to be there, that this is your last day, and you don't find out until you get there. So it's a kind of a far-reaching analogy, but it's just kind of trying to get people in the mindset of things. There should be no way that anybody else knows that you were traded before you. They shouldn't. The agent needs to know, because we talk about players being loyal, right? We want players to be loyal to their team. Oh, why are you leaving? Y'all kill LeBron. Y'all kill Kevin Durant. There's never any issue when the team trades a player. Y'all don't kill that team. Y'all say, hey, you know what? I think it was in the best interest. We're gonna support the team, right? We think it's kind of cute and funny. I mean, I made jokes about it, but not because it was funny. I made jokes about it because it was really messed up that guys were being traded. And when I'm laughing, it's like a, man, I can't believe that kind of laugh. Not a ha you got traded kind of laugh. No, it's like, yo, man, that's messed up, to do people like that. So if you're gonna hold these players feet to the fire for leaving when they have the right to leave, then you need to hold these organizations to the same kind of fire when they do stuff like that. It's not right, man. For real, that's real talk. It's not right. Nobody wants to know that. Nobody wants to find out that they're traded by watching ESPN and watching a Woj bomb, Adrian Wojciechowski. I think I pronounced his last name right. I might have to get back into spelling classes and pronunciation classes, but I believe I got it. Everybody just call him Woj Bomb. So I just think it's, you shouldn't find out by watching. And the crazy thing is, a high percentage of players have actually stated that they get nervous around this time, especially on trade day. They're watching their Twitter, and Adrian Wojciechowski as well. They're watching all of that to find out if they're going to be traded or not. That shouldn't happen. The agent, look, Mikal Bridges said as soon as Damian Lee told him that, he was like, huh, what, right? So you got to think from the time that it came out to the time that Damian Lee FaceTimed him, you're probably thinking 2 to 5 minutes. Once he tells him, now he's trying to assess it, and then he's getting phone calls and stuff. He's trying to process it, and then he gets a call from his agent. His agent should have been calling him before it went down. And I think we're in an age now to where, Wojciechowski, Shine, Sharadi, I think is his name, Chris Haynes, all these guys, they're insiders. And they're trying to get the scoop so they can break it first, so they can get the likes. It's big business for them. But I think these organizations need to do a better job with, you can leak it, but there's going to be a buffer, right? The player needs to know first. Once the player is known, contacted, then that's fine, right? And those players should probably have their phones ready. You don't want to go to the movies, to get away from it all and turn your cell phone off. Look, man, we tried to contact you for an hour. You get out of that movie, and you turn your phone on, and you blow it up, find out you was traded. That's different. We made every effort to contact you. You shouldn't have had your ass in there watching a movie because you kind of knew you was probably gonna get traded. So that's all I have to say about that. But I really think that they need to do something about that because that's a bad look. This last thing I want to comment on, NMSU, New Mexico State basketball program. Now, if you haven't heard about it, back in, I want to say December or November, somewhere in that area, there was a player that shot and killed someone, right? And there was this big investigation. And they, I think some of those players are going to be charged. I believe some of the coaches were going to be charged with obstruction. Look, I didn't read the full story. I mean, I know of it, but I didn't read the details. So I can't speak exactly because I don't want to mess it up. But I've seen film, and I never really got to see, like, okay, which player was from this school. But, yeah, it was a bad situation. Well, recently, within the last 5 days, some new allegations came out about hazing, and it was really bad. So they are effective immediately. They just canceled the rest of the basketball season for the men's program, right? I get that. You're sending a strong message. I think they're going to have to clean house because this situation is bad and it's gotten worse. They could be potentially facing lawsuits from those players depending on the hazing because apparently some of this stuff was done in front of everybody. So I don't know to the extent, and it'll come out. It always does. Somebody's going to try to get information so everybody can find out how bad it was. But there was a person who was on the board of regents for the New Mexico State program. He was he was a former board of regents member. His name was Bob Gallagher. His comment is what I'm going to talk about. He made a comment that mentioned, because the head coach, Hires, I think is his last name. The head coach is a coach that they hired, and I want to say this was his first or second season. He got hired. He used to be a JUCO coach, so they hired him, right? They hired him from a JUCO coach. I don't think he had any Division I coaching experience, but he was hired. Well, this gentleman, Mr. Gallagher, made the comment that when you hire a JUCO coach, you get JUCO behavior. Yo, that's bad. even if that's remotely true, which I know it's not, because I know a lot of junior college coaches that are excellent leaders. Let's just say that was true. If that was true, there wouldn't be any JUCO coaches coming up to the ranks of Division I, Division II, Division III NAIA schools and stuff like that. A ton of junior college coaches start at the junior college ranks and they move up. Some move from Division I back to junior college if if a program lets go the head coach and stuff. It's just kind of just like what anybody else does in any organization when people get moved around. But to generalize and say that when you hire a JUCO coach, you get JUCO behavior. Now, in my opinion, the current Board of Regents needs to come out really quickly, because what you're going to have once this spreads, and it's already spread, it's going to spread even more. Once that comes out, you're probably going to have a ton of coaches that might have been JUCOs that are, Division I, and you're definitely going to have a lot of JUCO coaches that are going to be like, man, forget y'all. We don't even want to interview. We're going to turn that position down, Now, of course, there are going to be a lot of coaches that want an opportunity to show that they're a JUCO coach and, they run good programs. Look, what this boils down to is the coach that was hired, maybe didn't have the infrastructure needed, and, maybe he wasn't as prepared. I don't know. I don't know him. But to have two major incidents like that's on that person. That's not all on junior college coaches, right? And I think when you group them like that, you put out a bad sign to the public. Because I tell you what, I'm not a JUCO coach, but if I was, I'd be like, man, I ain't going over there. Now, it goes without saying, he's not on the board. He was an ex-board member. But people are going to see, Board of Regents. They might not see the X. They might just see Board of Regents and think that he's, currently on there. And those words are going to stick, because when I heard it, I was, watching the TV, and I'm just watching, shaking my head like, man, another one? I was like, oh, man, they're going to have problems. And then he's your son, and he's like, well, let me tell you right now. And this is going to hurt some people's feelings, but I think it needs to be said. He said something to that effect. I don't know exactly how the words came out, but I'm basically paraphrasing when he says that. And he says, when you hire JUCO coaches, you get JUCO behavior. Now, he said that part. I'm running and telling that, right? Because I was telling people, I was like, man, I can't believe he said it. I've spent 3 days trying to find that video so I could make sure I heard it right. Yes. Got the video. I can tell you. I can put it in the comment section if you need it. And I can tell you, look, it's at this part in the video where he says it. And I've already sent it to a couple of people. They was like, wow. So, yeah, they're going to have to, they're going to have to do something, because that's going to be a dark cloud over the program because of all of it. I mean, somebody gets shot. I think the person died. I want to say the person was killed. You get this hazing. Man, that's going to be bad. They're going to have to do a lot to not just to bring their program. You're going to have to do a lot just to make sure that parents are comfortable with their kids going there. Hazing and somebody shooting, someone, you got to reinforce to parents of prospective athletes going there that you're going to be able to take care of their kid, because that coach and that coaching staff, I don't know all the details. Okay. So I can't begin to say that you got to be watching them 24/7. There are going to be things that slip, but 2 incidents, to me, it's like, to me, they failed this situation. I hope I'm wrong. I'm hoping it's just, somebody doing something that you couldn't, think was going to happen, but somebody getting bullied in front of everyone and nobody stood up. Yeah, that's bad. So, And I'm not really really cool with the fact that I get the news putting it out because yeah, that's a story. But yo, you gave voice to this. You co-signed this because you let this interview come out. You could have cut that part out. You could have edited that part when he said that, but you let it go because you knew that people were going to put it out there. And that's what I think is an issue sometimes. You got to just look at it and say, yeah, no, we can't let that. We can't let this dude say that. Because there was never any disclaimer after that video. I never heard anybody, and I can look at the video again. I didn't hear anybody say, look, this was this was the ex-Board of Regents member, Bob Gallagher. This was how he felt. We as a news station, that he was speaking for himself. He wasn't speaking for the current Board of Regents. He wasn't speaking for News Channel 9, News 7, KVIA, all of that stuff. So that's kind of how I would have approached it because not to say that the JUCO coaches going to roll up here and picket and boycott the news station. No, I'm not saying all that, but you got to be careful at some things that you co-sign because to me that's an actual co-sign. If you putting it out there and you letting it roll, and I get it, but we will see. I'm sure in another few weeks or so I'll be talking about this now, But yeah, that was crazy thing. So those were the things that were on my mind. Yo, I like to give a shout out to my sponsors, Next Style Designs. Next Style Designs makes quality shirts or custom apparel for all occasions. Next Style Designs. Mind Inc. Mind Inc. offers a wide array of digital media. Mind Inc. asks, are you using your mind? Southwest Basketball Showcase Recruiting Service. The link between your coach and your dreams. Maracay Zero Down Solar. Call Greg Suber for your solar needs. PCS Plus is the carpet service for all your cleaning needs. Okay, so let me get to my basketball training ideology. All right, so the first thing I'm going to start with, last week, I spoke on speeding up the jump shot, right? Doing the work before you get the ball. Well, as luck would have it, there was actually a situation that just occurred that spoke to everything I was talking about. Now, if you had seen the game, the Nets played the Sixers. I think no, it wasn't Sunday. It was probably Saturday evening or Friday night. I have so many things going on. My apologies for not knowing exactly what day it was, but it was either Friday or Saturday. Okay, it could have been Sunday, but I doubt it was Sunday. But in any case, at the end of the game, Philly was up 3. There was 0.9 seconds left on the clock. Now, they say you can get up a shot with 0.9 seconds, right? You got to catch it and be ready to catch and shoot. Well, in Spencer Dinwiddie's, pass goes from the sideline. Spencer waits for the play, and then delayed, he runs out towards the half court to receive the ball. He catches it, turns and shoots, knocks it down, right? So it's a tie game. It's going into overtime. Everybody's celebrating. Spencer is like, yeah, I'm that dude and everything. But upon further review, he was late getting that shot. Now, the angle that it actually showed the play happening in live didn't do it justice. It wasn't until I saw the replays that I said, this is a perfect example. And I'm going to cover this example. I'm going to put this up and cover it. This example illustrates why you have to do the work before you shoot. Part of the issue was the pass that was given to Spencer was going back further than where he was. So he had to reach back for the ball to catch it. As he's reaching back, then he has to take his step. Then he goes into his hop and sets his feet. And then there was not a delay, but it wasn't a quicker, go into your gather and up, up and shoot your shot. That used all of that time. Had he been able, even with the ball being thrown the way it was, had he been able to get his feet set prior to catching the ball, now it's just a catch and release. He doesn't have to take those extra steps and extra movements that he took to get that shot off. So it definitely went into what I was talking about, and I think it's important to understand sometimes when when you're going that route, you have to be ready to shoot. You have to have your feet ready. I work with kids when I'm doing these type of drills where they're catching the ball and I'm throwing the ball purposely bad, like really bad passes, high, too far behind, too low, bad, wrong positioning, because I'm trying to get them to understand that it really doesn't matter where that ball is thrown. As long as you can get your hands on it, you're going to be set to be ready to go up. Your feet are already set. So that's something that I try to really work on. And I can't remember if I mentioned this last week, but I had a kid, and if I did, I'll reiterate it. I had a kid who we worked on the speed tee at 1.5 seconds to take one or two dribbles and shoot. It was one dribble pull, right? So we worked on him to get really, really, really good on it. He gets in the game in college. It's 1.5 seconds on the clock. He runs his sideline out of bounds play, catches and shoots, has a ton of time, got it really fast. And the question was, I think they asked him about it, and he was like, he's worked on setting his feet, and that's something that we worked on. So it can be done. Now, 1.5 was not 0.9, but the fact is, I work with kids on 0.4, catching and shooting. Right? So if I can get you fast enough to be reaction to have your feet ready to go 0.4, then 0.9 is a lifetime. I think that was, who was that movie? That movie, Any Given Sunday, Al Pacino, when he says, 4 seconds is a lifetime. That's the way he said. I know my voice was cracking a little. It wasn't Al Pacino-like. But, yeah, no, if you work on it, you're going to increase your chances. And there was probably 0.3 of a second that was wasted movement and motion, and it wasn't Spencer's fault. Part of it was the ball thrown. So, and then look, let me make sure I make this clear. He's shooting damn near from half court. So, yes, you have to be ready with a lot of things, the strength and to get that ball up the way he did. So I'm not saying just by catching it and having your feet ready, you're going to make that, you're going to have the same results. But you're going to have a chance to get that ball off. And if you've worked on it enough times, you should feel comfortable with it. Okay, second part I'm going to go to is... Well, let me see how I could put this. I watched a barn burner. That was a barn burner of a game. It's a basketball high school game in Oklahoma. They were on it, man. Those nets were on fire. The final score of the game was 4-2. Yep, 4-2. One team scored 2 points the whole game. And it's brought up the whole discussion about needing the shot clock. And I've talked with some coaches and I said, look, here's kind of what I would have done. Now, obviously, I think they went to a 4-corner stall, and they just would hold the ball for long lengths of time, passing it from back and forth. And, when the guys came to guard them, they would dribble around. Then somebody tries to go and help, and then they pass it out to them. Now, to me, number one, I'm going to be mad at my guards because you can't stay with them and stay in front of them, okay? That's one thing. Now, if you know that's the situation, then there are different strategies that can be employed. Yeah, you can try to trap. You could try to invite them to get, easy buckets so you can get your hands on the ball, right? And kind of force them to speed their game up some. Some people say, oh, well, it's easier said than done. Yeah, it could be an issue. Now, the other thought that I had was I would, foul, and then I would bring my guys off the bench that maybe not play as much and use them to foul. Now we're going to get you into the bonus where you have to shoot free throws. Now you can't hold the ball, right? Anytime you get down there and you start holding the ball, we're going to foul you. We're going to put you on the line. You're going to shoot. You better be 100% from the free throw, because anytime we get the ball and can score, we go up, right? Now, that goes without saying. Absolutely, yeah, we got to score. But we're going to put pressure on you in other ways. We're going to have guys in there, and I'm going to sub guys, and I'm going to have them foul. And then once they're in the bonus, I'm going to be playing offense and defense. Because what happens is if I get a lead, if I get, 4 to 6 point lead, you're not going to hold the ball like that as much. And if you are, then okay, go ahead and hold it. You're down. So now we're going to win 8-4. Right? But your mindset has to change, because I'm going to put pressure on you in other ways. I could be totally off. There could be some coaches I said, "No, Keenan, no, that's not going to work." Well, no, they didn't try anything else. So I would have to kind of be in that situation. I didn't see the game, but I don't think I could legitimately allow that to happen for a whole entire 4 quarters where I just allowed you. And again, I know they employed some things, but at halftime, you got to come out and say, okay, we're going to have to shake some things up, because this is what they're doing. And it wasn't like these, when you saw some video of the game, it wasn't like these were two teams that had these, kids that were overmatched, from a height and, athletic standpoint. The team seemed, equally matched from what I saw, the little clip that I saw. I don't know who was in the game at the time, but I just can't imagine in 2023 that you would have a game that was a high school game, varsity game, that was 4-2. Now, in your local Y, where it's 5 and 6 year olds, man, them 4-2 games are common. Shoot, you might have a game that's 1-0. You might have that, boy, and they are cheering and going crazy. We beat them. It was 1-0. My baby scored the only point. You might get those, but that's 4 and 5 year olds. These are kids getting ready to go to college. Can you imagine the anguish of a college coach if they were there to recruit a kid? Man, that man he'd probably pull out, he or she, well, it have to be he, I guess. No, it could be a she, it could be a female coach. We're recruiting men, recruiting boys. But there's going to be some hair pulled out. There's going to be some hair. There's going to be a lot of gray. It might be some ulcers and all of that stuff getting from watching that game, because I couldn't even. Now, if you're a referee, you're enjoying that. Like, man, I can just sit here there, hold the ball. I'm just going to sit here I'm getting my check. I'm checking out. Ooh, hey, man, that girl over there looks cute. How you doing? I'm going to give you a technical foul. I'm just playing. I'm going off in a tangent. But, yeah, all in all, man, that's not a good look. Yeah, and the team who won will say, hey, we did what we needed to do. Now, come on, man. I am not trying to hear that. You scored 4 points. 4 points. Yeah, you won. But I'd like to see the rest of the season to see if you did it, how many points you were scoring, because everybody's going to take notice and they'll adjust. So if we see a string of this where this team is just, they got the Harlem Globetrotter basketball guards that can dribble around and keep the ball away, then, maybe it's a special, instance. But yeah, you're not saying that you coach to impress, but yeah, no, I'm not buying that. So we'll see what happens. I don't think that's going to spur a debate. I mean, the debate's already been going about shot clocks. I don't think that's going to be the tipping point towards, see, now we need shot clocks, 4-2. I went to the store and I took my wife out to eat and came back and caught the end of the game, and it was still 2-2. All right, so let me move on to my third training ideology. I call it microwave results. Now, what is a microwave result? A microwave result is a result that you think is supposed to happen overnight. Now, this happens in training. And what I mean by this is, parents who, they pay their money for their kid to come and train. We train their kid. And then they feel like within a few days that this kid should be spectacular because they're paying said money, whether it's a lot. Look, we don't charge a lot at all. There might be some people that say it's expensive, but compared to everywhere else, and even compared to some places here in the city, we're really low. We're really low. Now, are we as low as what said parents would be needing? Nah, because I used to have parents when I used to tell them how much we charge, and they'd say, "Oh, well, that's a lot. Can we work out a deal for like our prices for a 1 hour workout one-on-one is $40." And I used to have parents a while ago that would say, "Oh, well, we can go over here and they're only paying $10 for a training." And I say, "Well, that's good. Maybe I should go over there and get some training for $10. But then I know it's not an individual training, it's a group training. And that's something that I'll get into at a later date. But, you're paying to get your child better. So if you're paying $150 for Jordans, if your child has an iPhone, if your child is geared up and you're paying all these exorbitant amount of fees to play on these teams, you mean to really tell me that you're going to be upset with paying, $40 for a training? Now, I'm not saying that that's what it was, but this is what I will say that I've noticed with a parent here and there was there's this real pressure for this child to perform after being shown what to do and how to do it. And I don't know if it's monetarily related. I don't know if it's, the time related or if they just want this child to be LeBron, Michael Jordan, Steph Curry, or whatever. But what I try to explain to parents is it's going to take time. Now, when I say time, I don't mean it's going to take months or years. That child, as long as that child executes what we work with them on and they do it enough, they're going to make it common. It's going to be a habit now. Now they have to work on it in trial and error in the game. But every person's different. Some kids I have kids that pick up stuff and they are using it within the game the next day or that weekend. I have other kids that it might take a few weeks, a few months for them to get comfortable enough because of the challenges they face in being confident within their team. Right? Now, does it take 6 months for a kid to execute something? No, I've never had that happen. Anything I would say more than a month and a half to 2 months is when I'm really trying to talk to that parent and that kid saying, maybe this isn't what you really want or need, because it should never take that long to at least try it. Whether or not you master it, well, then it could take you, 3 to 6 months to master it in doing it so often when you're beginning, and you're really trying to find your way. But you should be at least trying to do it. And the microwave results I'm referring to is when, parents are like, well, you know what, we're going to take them out of training because, they're not, dominating. They're not doing all of these things. But then the question I ask in the few occasions that this has happened is, yeah, but you said how much better they've gotten in the 2 or 3 weeks that they've been coming. And there's, yeah, I know they've improved dramatically. Okay, so if they've improved dramatically, then what are we talking about? Are you expecting them to apply for the draft in the next 6 months for the NBA? They're 12 years old. They're not going to be going to the NBA draft. They got to go through this process. So it's a conversation I've had to have. It doesn't happen often, but when those pressures are put, and I try to explain it in a delicate way to where it's not. I never want to make a parent and kid feel like, um, how do I say it? I don't want them to make it feel like I'm trying to show them up or saying, well, they need training. I get it. Here's what I will tell you. We get a lot of kids that'll go, they'll come and get what they need, and then they're gone, and then they come back because they need it more. And that's the stages of development. That's what you have to understand if you're going to be playing sports. There are levels. You're always trying to get better, right? You don't want to overtrain and stuff, but as long as my thought process is, as long as you're seeing improvement, steady improvement, it's working, right? But if your child goes from now they're shooting more when they were only taking maybe one shot, now we put a plan in place to where now they're taking, 10 shots a game. That's 9 more shots than they've taken. They probably taken more in one game than they have probably the whole damn season. That's progress. But if that's not enough, then what I have to start telling the parents sometimes, in a few occasions is, are you doing this for your child or for yourself? Were you the type of player that was, you see something in your child that your child can be better than, what you were when you played, let your child play. Let your child play. If you feel training's not working, which is weird because you just told me how much better they've gotten in the 3 weeks that you've brought them here. But if you feel it's not working, then okay, yeah, let's take training away, and you can train them, or you can, put them with the team and they can continue to develop and stuff. And look, I'll say this with no apologies. I know what's going to happen. I know what happens with kids who leave training, that's working. If it's working, why are you trying to make it more than what it is? Put it in the oven. Sometimes in the oven, look, how many of y'all are sticking a turkey in the microwave and trying to cook their turkey on Thanksgiving for 30 minutes? You cook a turkey in the microwave for 30 minutes, and I come over there and you tell me, man, I'm grabbing my jacket. Yo, I'm out. Ain't no way I'm going to sit over here and eat a turkey that I know has been microwaved for 30 minutes. That takes hours, 4 to 6 hours, right? So stop trying to sprint when you know it's going to be, a marathon. This stuff takes a while. So, yeah, it's just, I call it microwave results. Oh, yeah, they're getting really good, but they're not showing me enough. What does that mean? They shot, they scored points, they understood what they were supposed to do defensively. They look like a different player, but yet you say that's not enough. So, yeah, that's the microwave results, and it's a really strange dynamic. And, I have to be delicate with how I approach it because I never want anybody to think the wrong things, but I have to share with them that knowledge that I have with the 20s. I found out recently it's been over 20 years that I've been doing this. It's been over 20 years. I thought it was around 20 years, but that's just because I'm old and I'm forgetful everything. I don't even know what I'm doing right now. I think I'm just talking. I feel like I'm at a bus stop and somebody just walked up and asked me a question. So with all of that being said, I'm going to end this, presentation, and I'm going to just mention the bonus content from my Patreon version. I'm going to talk about an adult female that played a JV game in high school. Yeah, an adult. Adult female played in a JV high school game. I got my solution to the dunk contest. I'm going to speak on LeBron breaking the scoring record. Talk about high talent, low IQ. And how your foot position is very important when doing advanced moves. And then a Valentine's story. Oh, yeah, ladies. Now, I can't say that. My wife going to be, what you mean, ladies? Yeah, I'm just going to talk about Valentine's story. So, tune in if you're a Patreon version, sign up for that subscription. and get that bonus content from me. And with that, I'm going to end it as I always do. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. I'm out.
Street cred sports, say it with your chest. Yeah. Go get it from the net. Street cred sports, okay, that's a bet.